So another distillery in Alberta is Highwood Distillery. It is in High River, Alberta, not too far from Calgary, and founded in 1974. It's the largest independently owned distillery left in Canada. So all the other big guys are owned by big companies. Highwood makes some really good stuff, and they produce a lot of good stuff. So the distillery really is built around wheat whiskey. So their base is a wheat whiskey. They also buy corn whiskey and rye whiskey that's made elsewhere. They used to make rye whiskey, but they've shifted their production just to wheat. And they make some really nice stuff. They purchased a lot of whiskey from potters, and so they bought a lot of casks of very mature old corn whiskey. So they release quite some really nice old corn whiskey. Canadian Rocky's 21-year-old, for instance, just a really awesome whiskey. It's not a brand of the distillery, but it is from the distillery. They also they did another whiskey I'll taste in the next video, but for instance a 30-year-old single cask, distilled in 88, bottled in 2018, exclusively for BC liquor stores. So they have some really old corn whiskey, and it's really nice. Also really high in alcohol. So the dry climate in Alberta means that the whiskey jumps up in terms of alcohol. And so I've had some whiskeys north of 80% that have been aged at Highwood. So kind of, more than 15, 16 years old. But again, a lot of their production's around wheat. Probably the signature bottle, I would say for them, this is me saying it, but is the Centennial 10-year-old. It's largely wheat whiskey, and at 10 years old is sort of the age that Highwood says that their wheat whiskeys really kind of hit their stride. So it's another really nice example. So great distillery, really good prices. They have some of their old, if you like the old corn whiskey style, which I really do, really awesome. You can get 20-plus-year-old whiskeys for $40-50. So really good. I love the stuff that they produce. In Ontario right now, we're kind of limited just to Centennial, but some of their older corn whiskeys I really like. In terms of the best thing I've had from there, Canadian Rocky's 21-year-old is kind of a consistent winner. Canadian Rocky's released a 35-year-old, which was an absolute stunner. They also released it at a cask strength, and it was wild. It was really high in ABV. But then they also released a one that wasn't a cask strength. And then so probably the Canadian Rocky's 35 is the best whiskey I've had out of there. Now granted, Highwood didn't distill that themselves, but they produced it, so I'll give them credit. So it's a neat distillery. It's worth trying. They do really good stuff. So highly recommended. Give them a go. We'll taste some of their whiskeys in the next video.